Elite Dojo star mocked a 10-year-old. Her response stunned every single witness. Go on, princess. Show us what you've got. Connor Crusher, Mill's taunted voice, dripping with condescension as he stared down his next target. The fluorescent lights of Unity Dojo hummed overhead, casting harsh reflections on the polished mats. At 10 years old, Maya Johnson was half a head shorter than the average middle schooler. But something in her quiet composure made even Crusher hesitate. He'd built a reputation on intimidation showmanship that impressed wealthy parents and crushed anyone who couldn't pay for the top-tier training package. Tonight, he thought he'd add Maya to his list of victims. Angela Johnson pushed through the front door in her crisp nurse's scrubs, exhaustion still clinging to her shoulders from a 12-hour shift at Grady Memorial. Behind her, Maya followed Book, clutched protectively against her chest. Unity Dojo wasn't just another after-school activity. It was their sanctuary, the one place Angela had found real hope after losing her husband in a humanitarian mission overseas. The scent of rubber mats and antiseptic smoothed away her fatigue until Crusher's voice cut through the calm. Maya's large brown eyes lifted from her novel as Crusher barked for the students to gather around. Leah Nelson, Maya's best friend and one of the few white girls who refused to blink at social lines, stood nearby with Jalen Carter, a gifted 13-year-old honors student who'd been reduced to tears by Crusher's sneers last month. They exchanged a worried glance. Tonight, Crusher's performance would hinge on humiliating someone who couldn't fight back. Angela set Maya's well-worn hardcover beside the reception desk. "Just sit here, sweetie," she whispered. "I've got to speak to Coach Ramirez about your spot in the youth leadership program." Maya, however, didn't settle. Her attention was magnetically drawn to Crusher's demonstration circle. He demonstrated a spinning back kick hips, tied his breath a low rumble. Behind him, the old janitor, Mr. Brown, a quiet man of 70 who'd seen every bully in town, watched with narrowed eyes, mop clutched like a staff. And police officer Luis Ruiz, a Latino veteran who trained here for community outreach, leaned against the wall with arms crossed, sensing tonight's imbalance of power. "Anyone can pretend to know martial arts," Crusher announced, voice booming. "But real skill shows when you face someone with nothing to lose." He scanned the ring of students, then zeroed in on Maya, who remained rooted to the spot. Chin level, unblinking. His ice blue gaze slid over her dark braids and confident stance. "What's your name, little girl?" A hush fell. Maya rose, the room's energy coalescing around her. She closed her book, opened her stance, and delivered her name evenly. "Maya." "Interesting." Crusher's smirk deepened. "You know anything about martial arts, Maya?" She inhaled, recalling her father's silk gloves, the ones she kept in a glass case embroidered with his mantra: "Protect first, conquer never." "A little," she said softly. "That was all he needed," Great Crusher said, beckoning her into the center. "Come show us." Maya stepped onto the mat, bare feet cooling on the vinyl. Her pulse thrummed not with fear, but with a steady drum of purpose. She remembered the justice bloom succulent on her windowsill back home, surviving under fluorescent bulbs and neglect, and she summoned its resilience now. The circle tightened. Leah's face paled. Jalen pressed forward. Mr. Brown straightened, and Officer Ruiz's jaw clenched. Crusher settled into a fighting stance, towering over her. "No more hiding," he growled. "Prove your worth." Maya drew a slow breath. She would prove more than her worth. She would remind everyone here why no one is defined by size, age, or silence. And then she moved. The dojo fell silent as Maya's first step carved a new truth into the air. She's just a scared little girl. What could she possibly do? Crusher's mocking whisper cut through the expectant hush, but Maya Johnson's heart refused to falter. The circle of students and parents pressed in closed their eyes, flicking from Crusher's boastful stance to Maya's calm, unreadable expression. In that moment, she felt the weight of every insult he'd ever hurled and turned it into quiet fire. A week earlier, Maya had watched her best friend Leah crumble under Crusher's scorn. She'd seen Jalen's confidence ripped away by a single sneer. Every time Crusher humiliated a student, he widened the cracks in Unity Dojo's foundation. Yet here now, standing alone in the center of the mat, Maya sensed the old tensions dissolve into anticipation. She inhaled the antiseptic tang of the mats beneath her feet, recalling her father's gloves and his final lesson. Strength without compassion is cruelty. Across the circle, Coach Ramirez shifted uneasily. He'd prided himself on fairness. He'd even halted Crusher's demonstration once before. But tonight, the atmosphere felt electric charged. Angela Johnson hovered at the edge, knuckles white around her registration form. Mr. Brown Mop, resting against his shoulder, watched Maya like a hawk, his silence more telling than any cheer. Officer Ruiz stood alert by the door, a silent promise of protection. Crusher flexed his fingers. If you want respect, Maya, earn it. He lunged first, a feigned, straightforward kick aimed to startle. Maya's world slowed. She felt each nerve in her ankle, heard her breath like a drumbeat in her ears. With a fraction of hesitation, just enough, she pivoted. Her foot slid aside, clearing the air where Crusher's kick would have landed. The mat hummed under her weight. Gasps erupted. Crusher's eyes narrowed. Lucky spat. A student's phone camera flicked on. Maya felt the glow of its red recording light like a branding iron, but she refused to flinch. Luck isn't in my blood, she thought. Discipline is. Crusher reset this time, unleashing a rapid combination, a front snap, then a cross punch. Maya bent her knees, rooted like the Justice Bloom succulent at home, its leaves thriving in adversity. Each strike carved arcs in the air, but Maya saw their path as clearly as words on a page. She stepped forward, her first strike a precise palm block against Crusher's jab rung, loud as metal on metal. Then, with deliberate calm, she applied her father's favorite principle, redirect energy. Instead of meeting force with force, she guided Crusher's arm downward, her other hand sweeping under his elbow, pivoting her hips. The motion was fluid, almost gentle. Before he could react, his own momentum carried him off balance. He stumbled past Maya, crashing into the equipment rack with a clatter that silenced the dojo. Weights rattled, mats shifted, and every eye traced the path of his humiliation. In the stunned quiet, Maya stood unmoving. No victory dance, no gloating grin, just the calm assurance of someone who had done what she came to do. A single beam of overhead light picked out the frayed cuff of her father's gloves, peeking from beneath her sleeve. Protect first, they seemed to whisper. Crusher lay amid fallen pads, chest heaving. Coach Ramirez drew a shaky breath and stepped forward. But Maya's voice, soft yet unwavering, broke the tension. Real strength is lifting others up, not tearing them down. A ripple of recognition passed through the crowd. Leah's tears of fear transformed to tears of pride. Jalen straightened his shoulders. Mr. Brown wiped a tear, and Officer Ruiz exhaled relief, mingling with awe. And yet, as Maya reached down to help Crusher up, offering a hand that trembled only slightly, she felt another presence behind her, the social media glow of phones capturing every second poised to share this moment with the world. Would their voices lift her message of compassion or distort it? Do you realize what you've just done? A voice demanded from the edge of the mat, brittle with disbelief. Maya Johnson didn't flinch. She had faced stares, whispers, even pity, but never outright astonishment. Across the circle, Connor Crusher Mills struggled to peel himself off the equipment rack, face pale and bruised ego dripping onto the mat. Maya's heart thudded, not from triumph, but from the knowledge that every broken preconception about strength had just shattered. Blood trickled from a cut at Crusher's temple, mingling with sweat on the dusty floor. Parents gasped, students fidgeted, and the overhead lights hummed as if startled into silence. Leah's voice trembled. Maya, are you okay? Maya nodded, wiping a bead of sweat from her brow, her dark braids framing a face more determined than afraid. She recalled her father's last gift, a simple pendant engraved with the words, "Courage is an absence of fear." Tonight, it felt as heavy as any metal. Coach Ramirez stepped forward, confusion warring with relief. That demonstration? It's over. Right? His voice cracked under the weight of what he'd seen. Maya glanced at him, then back at Crusher, whose shoulders slumped in resignation. Yes, she said, voice steady. It's over because martial arts isn't about proving you're better than everyone else. It's about protecting each other. A ripple of murmurs spread through the crowd. Some faces lit with admiration, others with shame. Maya felt the shift in the dojo's energy, a tide turning against cruelty and toward compassion. Mr. Brown, the janitor, let his mop clatter, then stepped forward. Child, you've taught us all a lesson tonight, he murmured, eyes misty. Officer Ruiz exhaled, reaching for his radio before pausing, no call needed. This was a victory for justice, not an arrest. But beneath the relief, Maya sensed something else stirring, the glow of phone screens capturing every angle, every twitch of Crusher's defeated grin. In an instant, her triumph would flash across social media, where truth and rumor mingled like oil and water. Would her message of kindness survive the glare of viral headlines, or would a single sensational clip reduce her to another fleeting internet fad? Crusher's sister, Linda Mills, emerged from the crowd, her pale eyes wide with conflict. She wore a uniform from the family's restaurant, proof that wealth didn't protect her from shame. She knelt beside her brother, brushing back his hair. Connor. I'm so sorry, she whispered. Maya watched, chest tightening. This was no simple apology. Lily's tears spoke of a deeper reckoning within the Mills family, an admission that privilege had blinded them to decency. Leah placed a hand on Maya's shoulder. You okay? Maya met her gaze, feeling her own resolve harden. I'm more than okay, she said, but this is just the beginning. The dojo doors stood open behind them, flung wide like an invitation. Outside, the city's hum beckoned a world hungry for stories of courage and redemption. Maya glanced at the hem of her father's pendant glinting in the overhead light. Courage isn't absence of fear. It's choosing to move forward anyway. She squared her shoulders and took a single step toward Crusher and Linda into the next chapter of a journey none of them could have predicted. And in that charged silence, the dojo held its breath, ready for whatever would come next. Who would have thought a 10-year-old could change everything? Coach Ramirez's voice trembled as he addressed the stunned crowd, the weight of his own words settling like dust in the fluorescent glow. Maya Johnson stood near the edge of the mat chest, still rising and falling with the echo of adrenaline. She'd not only protected herself, she'd protected every student who'd ever cowered under Crusher's sneers. Now their dojo felt smaller, more intimate, as if every pair of eyes recognized the shift from fear to possibility. Angela Johnson stepped onto the mat, tears glinting in her nurse-worn eyes. She held the youth program registration forms in trembling hands. I, Coach Ramirez. I want Maya to lead our new confidence collective, she said, voice thick with emotion. If Crusher's reign taught us anything, it's that kids need more than kicks, they need community. The word collective jumped from chalkboard letters behind them, a symbol etched overnight after Mr. Brown had scrawled it in quiet solidarity. Beneath it, the Justice Bloom succulent robust, despite neglect, stood in a cracked pot, a living emblem of resilience. Crusher, still crumpled on the rack of dumbbells, looked up. His face was pale, but his eyes were clearer than they'd ever been. I stepped out of line, he admitted, voice raw. I'm in if Maya wants me to help. Whispers rippled through parents. Could the bully become the ally? Maya's father's pendant warmed against her chest, as if urging her toward grace. Yet she hesitated. Forgiveness wasn't weakness. It was a choice that carried risk. Leah Nelson moved beside Maya. What if they record us? What if they twist this into a meme? Maya inhaled, recalling the red glow of phone cameras lit like spotlights. Social media would seize this moment. Could they protect its meaning? She glanced at Officer Ruiz, who gave a reassuring nod. His presence meant safety, not surveillance. With a firm exhale, Maya stepped forward, voice calm but resolute. We'll set the rules. Everyone, students, parents, instructors, will sign a pledge. No shaming, no bullying, no recording personal moments without consent. We redefine respect here. Coach Ramirez blinked, then smiled through tears. Agreed. Crusher rubbed his temple, then found strength in his own voice. I'll sign it too, and I'll volunteer for cleanup duty and instruction under Maya's guidance. The crowd erupted in supportive applause, not for a flashy kick, but for a new covenant born in solidarity. Yet, even as unity blossomed, Maya sensed the undercurrent of doubt. Outside, a lone phone glowed through the dojo's front window, someone already live streaming, threading comments of praise and a few of sneers. Propaganda. Let's see if she can teach real adults. Maya felt a spike of fear for the program's future. A single viral clip could undo months of healing. Mister? Brown shuffled forward, mop in hand, but eyes fiery. Let them try. This dojo stands for more than one person's ego. He tapped the Justice Bloom's pot. Like this plant, we survive, neglect flourish under care. If this program roots itself in honesty, no storm online can uproot us. Maya nodded, absorbing his words like water before a drought. Angela gathered Maya in a quick embrace, whispering, You did it, sweetheart. You gave everyone a second chance. Maya clutched her father's pendant breath. Catching this program was her chance to keep his legacy alive. Yet, as the dojo doors swung open for cleanup, a lone figure watched from the threshold, phone in hand, expression unreadable. Maya caught that gaze for a heartbeat, an echo of the next challenge waiting to unspool. And in that instant of calm purpose, the dojo braced itself for what the rest of the world would see next. They're calling her a fraud online, Maya whispered, scrolling through comment after comment on her phone. The feed glowed with emojis, some hearts, some angry faces, and a relentless stream of doubt. Kid can't teach grown-ups, all talk, no real skill. Sellout, the dojo's warm buzz felt miles away. In that moment, Maya realized reshaping unity, dojo's future would demand more than a single victory. It would require weathering a storm of skepticism that raged far beyond these mats. A week ago, she stood alone against Crusher's tyranny. Now she found herself at the center of something bigger. A youth-led confidence collective that sought to rewrite the rules of martial arts pedagogy. But, as her mantra necklace pulsed against her chest, courage isn't absence of fear, she felt fear's prickling return. Could she protect this fragile new community from the venom of social media? Was her promise of respect strong enough to outlast each viral barb? Coach Ramirez greeted her in the empty dojo at dawn, bowing as the first shafts of sunlight fell on the Justice Bloom succulent perched by the entrance. Its pale green leaves shimmered with dew, a living testament to resilience. Maya, he said softly, we're losing some parents. They worry this isn't serious enough. His voice cracked with guilt. Financial aid requests dwindled, some donors threatened withdrawal. The uneasy truth surfaced: compassion didn't always pay the bills. Maya closed her eyes, inhaling the antiseptic sweet air. Every parent had once seen terror in their child's eyes under Crusher's reign. Now they had to see hope in a 10-year-old's vision. Let's show them progress, she said, opening her stance as if on the mat. Film our next session. Let them witness these kids transform on and off the mats. Leah and Jalen joined her by the cameras adjusting angles on the new live stream platform, Safe Space Live. Ready? Leah asked, doubt flickering in her eyes. Maya nodded, heart hammering with risk. If this failed, the collective would collapse. But if it succeeded, it could ignite a movement. That afternoon session began with Marcus's conflict resolution, roleplay, then Bella's meditation guidance, and finally, Owen's demonstration of balance in chaos. Each clip streamed live, each child's face alight with genuine confidence. Comments shifted. This is amazing. She's onto something. Kids teaching adults, hopeful emojis replaced angry ones. But then, as Maya guided a group breathing exercise, an anonymous message popped up. Post your data, or this ends. A threat aimed at her mother's nursing license, her father's legacy, and the dojo's nonprofit status. The screen froze a moment, Maya's reflection splitting between bravery and dread. Could she stand firm? Would her courage hold under this new assault on their integrity? She looked to the succulent still standing, even with leaves bent but unbroken, and felt resolve flare. In the hush, Before the next breath, her internal compass realigned protection required persistence. Respect demanded boundaries, and integrity would be her shield. And as Maya raised her voice to lead the next exercise, the dojo's doors held their breath ready for the fight ahead. Your mother could lose her job over this, the anonymous text read cold and clinical against the glow of Maya's phone screen. The hospital's logo stared back at her Grady Memorial, the place Angela Johnson poured her heart into saving lives. One wrong move at Unity Dojo could cost her everything. Maya's fingers trembled as she scrolled through the threats, bogus OSHA violations, fake complaints to the nursing board, rumors of child endangerment. They'd tried to break the dojo. Now, they targeted her family's livelihood. Angela stood in the doorway behind Maya, worry etched across her exhaustion-lined face. They won't do that, Maya insisted, though her voice cracked. She wanted to shield her mother from the fallout, but the attack's logic was as precise as any martial template strike. What's most dear forced surrender in the heart. A sudden clap of hands broke the tension. Coach Ramirez, flanked by Mr. Brown, and Officer Ruiz strode onto the mat. "We're not alone," Ruiz said, motioning to Leah and Jalen at the camera station. "We've alerted Safe Space Live's legal team. They'll track any slander." Leah nodded, eyes bright despite exhaustion. "We have dirt on the dirt bags, metadata, IP addresses, timestamps." Ramirez laid a hand on Maya's shoulder. "You led this community to stand tall. Now we stand with you." At the edge of the mat, the Justice Bloom succulent glimmered in its cracked pot. Its leaves, once drooping under neglect, reached greener every day. Maya touched its stem, drawing strength. Resilience was growth under pressure. If the succulent could survive harsh lights and scattered waterings, so could they withstand a digital assault. Maya squared her shoulders. She recalled her father's words, "Justice isn't a single fight. It's a lifelong stand." Tonight, she would fight. Not with fists, but with truth and unity. "We'll host a community panel," she declared. "Parents, kids, local leaders, open forum. We expose the smears and show our transparency." Ramirez raised an eyebrow, surprised by her boldness, but nodded. Mr. Brown fetched a clean whiteboard, scrawling "Unity in Truth" in bold letters. In the next hour, the dojo transformed. Mats cleared to form a ring of chairs. Leah broadcast live, Jalen monitored incoming tips. Angela handed out flyers. "Join us for truth and solidarity, no threats tolerated." Parents trickled in, some skeptical, others ready to defend. Word spread beyond Sunset Hills. A few local news crews arrived, curious about the girl who defeated a bully, and now dared to challenge hidden agitators. When the panel began, Maya stepped forward, voice steady. "You've heard lies that we hurt children or endangered students. Here's our record. 0 injuries, 150 community service hours, dozens of testimonials." She clicked the remote. A slideshow showcased every safety certification background, check insurance policy, even Officer Ruiz's commendation in public outreach. The room hushed. Authentic documents trumped rumors. A man in a suit, a parent from the back row, stood. "I received a text saying my job is at risk if I continue my donation." "Is that true?" Maya met his eyes. "Absolutely not," she answered. "Your support means empowering children, not silencing them." Applause rippled through the crowd, solidarity blossomed like petals. Yet Maya spotted a lone figure slipping away, too quick, too cautious. A reminder their fight wasn't done. Even as the cameras rolled and real faces spoke truth, shadowy fingers still pulled the strings. Maya inhaled iron resolve rising. They had provoked a movement stronger than any smear. And with that spark, the dojo braced itself. The next battle, fought in broad daylight, was already beginning. "Do you really think a kid can fix the system?" Councilwoman Thompson's voice sliced through the auditorium, dripping with doubt, as hundreds of community members leaned forward. Maya Johnson stood center stage at Sunset Hills High's packed gym, her heart pounding like a rallying drum. Just 6 months ago, she'd been the terrified 10-year-old cornered by Crusher Mills. Now she faced a different kind of bully bureaucratic skepticism, aiming to shut down Unity Dojo's groundbreaking youth program. The overhead lights glinted off the Justice Bloom succulent perched on a side table, a resilient emblem, its leaves unfazed by this grown-up showdown. Maya brushed a braid behind her ear, remembering her father's mantra. Strength is proven when faith meets fire. Tonight, she would prove it again. Councilwoman Thompson, flanked by a stern-faced school board and a cameraman live-streaming every moment, waved a stack of documents. Liability concerns, zoning violations, unregistered instruction. We've got pages here. This isn't a game of TikTok, likes whispers. Rippled, some parents nodded. Others glared at the councilwoman. Angela Johnson gripped her daughter's hand from the front row, exchanging a steadying glance. Leah Nelson and Jalen Carter manned the live stream thumbs, hovering over the share button. Mr. Brown, leaning on his mop at the back, gave Maya a subtle nod of encouragement. Officer Ruiz, stationed by the exit cross-armed in silent support, had already confirmed there were no genuine violations, only fear-driven pushback. Maya inhaled, scanning the packed bleachers, children whose confidence had blossomed here, parents whose skepticism had turned to pride, even former skeptics whose tearful thanks in the lobby had preceded tonight's debate. Councilwoman Thompson Maya began, voice steady despite the weight of adult scrutiny. I'm a kid, yes. But every week I've watched my classmates transform. Shy kids become leaders, scared kids become guardians. We've logged 0 injuries, dozens of volunteer hours at the shelter local nonprofit partnerships. We aren't a liability. We're a lifeline to a generation drowning in doubt. She clicked a remote. The projector flickered to life with photos of kids teaching conflict resolution under Coach Ramirez's watchful eye footage of crusher mills, volunteering cleanup duties, and thank you letters from the women's shelter. See this? Maya pointed. This is impact. Real impact from 10-year-olds and adults standing together. A slow murmur grew into applause, punctuated by a surprised gasp from Councilwoman Thompson. Maya seized the moment. You worry about paperwork and permits, but what about the paperwork of lives changed? The letters we've received. My son hasn't smiled in months. Now he wants to teach his little sister. I learned to stand up for a friend being bullied. Those don't fit in your forms, but they fill our community's heart. The councilwoman's facade cracked. But how do we regulate it? Who's accountable? Maya felt the risk the next question could topple everything. Instead, she gestured to the Unity in Truth Pledge Board, where parents, kids, even Crusher's sister had signed a public promise. No bullying. Mutual respect. Transparency. Accountability is built in. We live stream every session, publish monthly audits, and I personally mentor any adult or child who steps out of line. We don't hide in shadows. Silence fell, powerful, expectant. Angela squeezed Maya's hand, pride shining in her eyes. The dusty old duckweed green of the succulent seemed to glow. Then Officer Ruiz tapped the mic, his deep voice clear. As long as these conditions hold, I'll back their permit. We need more safe spaces, not fewer. A ripple of agreement swept the room. Councilwoman Thompson swallowed, finally nodding. Very well, she said, voice tight but conceding. Unity Dojo's permit is extended pending quarterly reviews. The gym exploded in cheers. Maya felt tears burn, but held them back, no time for sentiment yet. Outside cameras clicked, and live streams soared. Yet, in that electric moment, she realized the next challenge loomed, sustaining hope beyond headlines, turning a permit into a permanent legacy. And as the lights dimmed behind her, Maya knew this was only the beginning. They called me a child, now they're calling me a leader. Maya Johnson said, voice, echoing through the packed gym as the final sunset light danced against the banners proclaiming, Unity Dojo, where strength protects. She stood before her friends, teachers, and even former adversaries, her 10-year-old frame, silhouetted against the golden glow. A year earlier, her only battle had been to defend herself against Crusher's arrogance. Tonight, she faced her greatest challenge, yet transforming a single dojo's victory into a movement that could reshape a community. Beyond the mats, the Justice Bloom succulent, once wilting under neglect, stood vibrant in its new terracotta pot. Its resilience mirrored Maya's own journey, survival through hardship flourishing under adversity. She closed her eyes, feeling each leaf's silent vow to endure. Around her, students formed a circle of triumph. Leah leading meditation, Jalen teaching breathing exercises, Marcus demonstrating conflict resolution. Even Crusher, now in a simple dojo uniform beneath his repaired black belt, guided a group of younger kids through respectful sparring. His presence had become proof that forgiveness like strength could be learned, but not everyone celebrated. In the back row, a handful of parents whispered in hushed tones, "This is a fad. She's too young to teach." What happens when the novelty fades? Their doubt hovered like dark clouds threatening the horizon Maya had fought so hard to clear. She felt their skepticism like a physical weight on her shoulders. If she failed tonight, the movement would crumble, and with it the promise of a kinder, braver community. Angela Johnson appeared at the gym entrance, phone in hand, her nurse's calm resolve lighting her eyes. "Maya, there's a situation at the shelter," she called out, voice tight. "The kids we've been mentoring, the ones we rescued from crisis, need extra support. They're afraid tonight after reading scornful comments online." Maya's chest tightened. Their program had extended beyond Unity Dojo into homeless shelters, schools, even the police youth outreach. Each testimonial of transformed lives had been a beacon of hope. Now that light flickered under the shadow of fear. Stepping off the stage, Maya traded her pendant for her phone. The screen displayed a new threat. "Stop this, or we'll expose your shelter work as dangerous." The message was clear: attack the vulnerable to break her spirit. Yet, as she peeled back the latest smear campaign, something remarkable happened. Leah and Jalen rushed in, each holding printed letters, handwritten thank you notes from shelter kids trembling with gratitude. "They trust us," Leah said, voice steady. Jalen nodded. "We promised we'd protect them. We can't back down now." Maya inhaled, summoning her father's final lesson. When justice is questioned, you don't step aside, you step forward. She had never fought for applause. She fought for every scared child who'd found strength under her guidance. Now her next move carried risk: expose the smear artists publicly, or protect the kids by staying silent. Against this moral dilemma, she made her choice. Turning back to the stage, Maya raised her phone high, not to record, but to project the shelter's thank you notes onto the gym's video wall. Each child's drawing, each shaky signature, filled the screen in vibrant color, a chorus of real voices. The gym fell into awed silence as the messages bloomed. "You gave me a home in my heart. You taught me courage. You believed in me first." Crushed under the weight of truth, the smear's power dissipated. And in the hush that followed, Maya knew the real work was just beginning, forging a future where no child's value could be measured by fear or prejudice, only by the strength of their heart. As the crowd rose in a standing ovation, Maya's eyes found the stormy horizon beyond the gym windows, fresh challenges beckoning in the twilight. But tonight, hope shone brighter than any doubt, and her journey pressed onward, guided by the promise that true strength protects all who cannot protect themselves.